Hello everyone, welcome back. Extended visit. I forgot all about this. It's probably what's her name? Claire's. Um, but wouldn't that be cool if it was like one of the old Parasite 5? Anyway, it's Sunday night, and while I might not have recorded tonight, my husband has got me sick, so I have a sore throat. It hasn't affected my voice yet, and now the sinuses have kicked in, and I'm under a heavy dose of NyQuil, so I don't know if I'll get this edited tonight, but I want to record while my voice is good, and I might record even two. So, I mean, I'm starting at midnight, but I might record two anyway. It depends how quickly the NyQuil kicks in. But I don't think I'd be able to get this recorded even without the NyQuil because when your sinuses hurt, like you have trouble focusing and with your eyes, and I kind of need my eyes to see things while I edit. So let's just see how far we get into Allan today. The idyllic days of our honeymoon vacation had come to a close. Your honeymoon's already over. The little Luxuria resumed its regular operations. Was your honeymoon just the bathtub? That day, Allan and I attended to our patrons in our luxury pillow boutique. In a pillow store known for romantic fortune-telling, we spent our days consulting with various customers. Yes, I see it. Your romantic life will work out.
あら、本当？じゃあ、この枕いただいていくわ。
ありがとうございます。
Thank you. Good luck to you.
ありがとう。これで気も楽になったし、ゆっくり眠って彼とのデートに備えるわ。
またのご来店をお待ちしております。
また来るわ。
With the wrapped up box of a pillow in hand, the customer left the shop. Ew.
お疲れ。今日もよくできたね。
Thanks, but I still have lots of energy left, so you don't need to recharge me yet. I don't know, when you say it like that, it kind of devalues the act in my opinion, but whatever.
いや、これはただ俺がしたくなってしたキスなんだ。
She thought he was coming on to her, and he's like, I just want to kiss you. Allan lightly kissed me and then patted me on the head. Whenever I used demonic powers to deal with customers, Allan always tried to replenish my energy immediately. He was undoubtedly a overprotective demon.
さてと、そろそろ時間だし、閉店準備をしようか。
Yes, I'll lock the doors.
ああ、ありがとう。俺はこっち片付けておくよ。
We put the close sign and locked the doors. As we both went about our closing routine. Huh?
あれ？
わあ、ここがあの噂の高級枕店ですか。キュピー、すごいです。
I totally forgot about him, actually. I thought I had locked the doors, but a customer had somehow entered. Surprisingly, it was a young boy who didn't seem likely to buy a pillow. I'm surprised she can't sense any godly auras about him. I'm sorry, but we're closed. I thought I locked the doors.
あなたが仙台キューピッドですか？
何者だ？
Who are you? Electric. Oh. He's serious. He's a demonic form. Allan released some of his demonic powers and positioned himself between me and the boy. The boy didn't flinch. Instead, he smiled broadly.
はじめまして、仙台のキューピッド。僕はシルビー・スコット。新しく生まれたキューピッドです。
The new Cupid?
もう生まれたのか？
Meaning he must have been an angel until recently. Gods below the dicositants consisted of angels handpicked from heaven. Just as I had once been an angel before becoming Cupid, he must have undergone the same transition.
それで、新しいキューピッドが どうしてここに来たんだ？
I know gods can erase demons. Probably not lesser gods, but
もちろんまだまだ新米キューピッドなので、先代から極意を学ぼうと思って人間界に見学に来たんです。
先代って。君はただのキューピッドなのに、随分と事情を知っているんだな。
now that he mentions it, when I was born, no one gave me any details. I was only informed of my role, and I accepted it without question, as if I was part of a vast machine. Yet this new Cupid, freshly minted, knew that I was his predecessor. How do you know that I'm the previous Cupid?
キュピ？もちろん深海で噂になってるからですよ。悪魔にそそのかされて打点したキューピッドがいたって。
Seduced by a demon. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's a rumor now.
もちろんですよ。みんな話してますよ、お二人のことを。だから僕すごく気になったんです。深海を捨てられるような恋をできる心理はどんなものなんだろうって。
It's for love.
ぜひキューピッドとしてその恋心を知りたいんです。だから降りてきたんですよ。
なるほどね。天真爛漫で好奇心旺盛。まさにキューピッドだ。
How did you come here? Did Mom and Dad give you permission?
はい、ジュピター様から許可をいただいたんです。人間界に留学するのはキューピッドとして必要なことだと言われました。
Lord Jupiter did. Even as demons, they had some dealings with Lord Jupiter. Allan and Jupiter kind of fought, and then I think Jupiter helped him at the end. I don't remember what it was about because I don't remember the small details about that route, unfortunately. But I feel like Jupiter helped him down in hell. But I was totally wrong last time I said that, so don't take my word for it.
ええ、人間の常識を知るのには大切だとかで、1年間学校に通うことになったんです。
あのジュピターがね。考えを変えたってことか。
Alice smiled sarcastically as he shrugged his shoulders. Lord Jupiter was an omnipotent god. Even Allan had been struck by his lightning before. He wouldn't say it out loud, but I believe Allan despised him greatly. However, the new Cupid wasn't as ignorant as I had been. I believe that Allan and I were the cause of the many changes that were occurring in Celestia. Mom and Dad, how are Lord Mars and Lady Venus?
キュピー、マーズ神は先代のことが忘れられないみたいで、よく泣いてるところを見ますよ。それをヴィーナス神が慰めてます。だから代わりにミネルヴァ神がよく僕の話し相手になってくれるんです。
ミネルヴァ神だって？
はい、先代もミネルヴァ神と仲良かったと聞いています。それで留学を決めたとか。
Olivia looked at me with bright eyes. It seemed as if he wanted to learn all about romance from me.
それでミネルヴァ神には今回の留学で僕も恋をした方がいいと言われていて、恋愛相手を探しているんですよ。
She only wants your bow. That's why she's saying that.
ああ、なるほど。キューピッドは恋をしたら人間になるけれど、それは知ってる？
キュピー？そうなんですか？
あ、それでいいなら恋愛相手探しを手伝うけれど。
嫌ですよ。僕キューピッドである自分に誇りを持っているんですから。恋結びをしたのはまだ数えるほどなんです。それなのに人間になんてまだなりたくないですよ。
なら今はただの留学に留めておくんだ。でもそのうち人間になりたいと思う時が来るかもしれない。その時は恋を手伝うよ。
Ella seems awfully carried. Although curious at first, Allan seemed to soften up after learning this boy was the next Cupid. It was probably because, like him, both of us had once been angels.
ありがとうございます。でもまさか恋をしたらキューピッドじゃなくなるとは思いませんでした。それなのに恋をしてみろなんて、僕ミネルヴァ神にからかわれたんでしょうか。
Allan should know that she was after the bow.
いや、むしろ神の試練を与えられたって考えてもいいんじゃないか。
A divine challenge over the bow.
キュピなるほど。誘惑があってもキューピッドとしての使命を果たせるか、それを見られていたんですね。じゃあ僕は真面目に留学したいと思います。ということでお二人ともぜひ夫婦生活について教えてください。
Bling! I forgot he does that too. Sylvie seemed to have taken a liking to us. He lacked a knowledge of the human realm, so we kept teaching him things and he ended up living with us. Oh, really?
キュピこれ何ですか？
I don't know how I would feel about this, like a little boy tagging along everywhere you went. It's gotta be even worse for Allan, who hates gods. This is, what is this again?
多分肩こり用のマッサージ機じゃないか。
Massaging device. Is the chi. The three of us shopped together, explaining each product to him. No, you stretch your back out like this and, yeah, that's right. It'll improve your accuracy with Cupid's arrow.
へえ、確かにこうやって背筋を伸ばすと狙いやすくなっていいですね。
Having been the previous Cupid, I gave Sylvie tips on how to use the Cupid's arrow.
うわー、これがあのバーベキューですか。噂で聞いてからずっと気になっていたんです。
Rumors?
はい、人間の求愛行動の一つだとパラサイトハウスで学びました。
That's funny. It's a human mating dance at Parasite House. Yeah, didn't they have some kind of heated debate about cooking? It was like Gil versus everyone else. He was like, you must make it with love or something like that. And I don't remember what they were talking about, but I'm pretty sure clothes were taken off during that too. Everyone except for Allan's anyway.
いや、それは多分ちょっと違うな。
That's not quite it. The three of us joined a barbecue outdoors, bonding like a real family. By the time Sylvie had acclimated to the human realm, it was ready to start attending school. The next step would be to understand human habits. Don't bathe with women. That's what Gil taught her.
いいかい。まず、学校ではいきなり恋愛について聞いちゃダメだ。
もう分かってますよ。ちゃんと人間の生活について学んでますから。
Instead of starting college like I did, Sylvie would be starting from middle school. This choice was based on Sylvie's appearance. Learning basic common sense in middle school would aid his work as Cupid. The gods had orchestrated this.
でも集団生活は家で過ごすのとは違うんだ。もしかしたら変な言いがかりをつけてくる生徒がいるかもしれない。何かあったら俺たちに絶対に言うんだ。わかった？
もう心配しすぎですよ。でもありがとうございます。
No, children can be cruel and mean.
じゃあ学校に行ってきます。
あ、行ってらっしゃい。気をつけて。
See you later. Are you sure you'll be okay alone?
大丈夫ですよ。僕はキューピッドですから。キュピ？
あ、その口癖学校では。
Don't say it.
言っちゃったな。
I forgot to warn him about that weird thing he always says. At first it was bothersome, but I grew fond of it. It was part of what made Sylvie so lovable and unique. However, it might not be well received in school. Maybe I should catch up to him and tell him.
そうしたいところだけれど、過保護すぎるのも良くないだろうし、 彼に任せよ
Like they have a child now, their own child. Yeah, you're right. Alan was right. Sylvie was here to learn, so he should attempt to grasp human norms by mingling with the other kids. I glanced out the window and saw Sylvie boarding the school bus with his backpack.
う。ミドルスクールか。
I know you guys just inherited a middle schooler. That brings me back. I hope Sylvie will get accustomed to things soon.
君は結構すぐに馴染んでたよね。
Huh? Oh yeah. Back then you were protecting me, Alan. After I temporarily became a human, I attended middle school for a short time. Alan was watching over me.
あ、君だけはなぜか悪魔姿の俺が見えていたから、見つからないようにするのに苦労していたけどね。
Alan smiled and touched my cheek, his gaze reminding me that he had been watching over me all along, ever since my rebirth.
さすがキューピッドってだけあって、シルビーは君によく似ているし、きっとすぐに馴染むよ。
Yeah, you're right.
あ、子供がいたらこんな感じなんだろうな。
Huh?
ああ、なんでもない。
Okay, demons have babies? I don't know. Wouldn't it be cool if she had a kid in one of these, though?
それより、せっかく二人きりになったんだ。こっちにおいで。
Oh. Alan drew me in and through a kiss shared his demonic essence.
お腹減ってただろ。
He's got some really intense sound effects, doesn't he? Yeah, and you, Alan.
君にあげてからもらうよ。君の夢をね。
Our shallow kisses deepened, each one becoming more passionate. We exchanged our best like there was no tomorrow. Alan gently placed me on the bed, licking down with an enticing demonic allure. The way he feeds on me with his powers, the way we express our love, our fingers intertwined. He never did this while Sylvie was home. Well, that's good. I hope you wouldn't. These moments were private, a ceremony that we only did alone. Alan, wait. His eagerness was evident, perhaps because it had been a while. Between Sylvie's stay and our work at the pillow shop, it had indeed been ages since our last intimate encounter. But there was an intensity in his eyes, as if his desire for me had never waned. We sought more than just pleasure. I tried to uncover the emotions that lay deep behind his gaze. Alan?
ごめん。止められない。
He whispered in his raspy voice as he changed his angle of entry. Goodness. Why does it have to be so descriptive? Any coherent thought quickly melted away, making me unable to focus on anything else. But at times he wore such a sad expression that I found myself calling his name repeatedly. Oh, why is he sad? He should be sad during this. After that intense and spirited feeding session, after that delicious meal, I felt dazed, resting my chin on the dinner table. Alan had been so rough with me that my back ached, even though I was a demon. Oh my goodness. Well, don't let it go ages next time, jeez.
ごめんごめん。怒ってる？
I'm not mad, but we have work, so I wish he hadn't gone overboard. Was it as bad as Gil? She would hide from him if he was bad, like overboard in her words. It was really funny when he was like, please come out from under the bed. Oh, maybe it was a table. Come out from under the table. Once the store opens, we'll have to work downstairs, but I don't feel confident handling customers in my current state. Now that I recall, Alan wondered what it would be like if we had children. Oh. He had muttered that to himself, but I was certain I heard him correctly. However, that day would never come because we were demons. I had never heard of gods or demons having children. That was a privilege reserved for humans. But you were once a human, so does that count? In mythologies, gods did give birth, but they sprouted from their heads or children emerged from their mouths. Less disturbing. But those acts were by the primordial gods. I had never heard of recent gods producing offspring. The role of Cupid had changed over time, and the Diconstantins acted as parents to gods who were formerly angels. That was the truth about Celestia then.
ほら、リネット。これ飲んで。
I smelled something citrusy. Allan brought over some hot lemonade. Why would you drink it hot? Thanks, Allan.
俺こそ、ごめん。久しぶりで。少し調子に乗ったみたいだ。
His fingers had brushed against my throat, similar to how he'd caress a cat.
疲れさせちゃったみたいだからね。店の方は俺がやっておくから、君は休んでいて。
He kissed me on the forehead and smiled. Allan was so good at spoiling me, but that greater demon sometimes couldn't control himself when it came to me. I wished to spoil him in return to fulfill all his desires. But what if he desires something that we demons could never achieve? I sipped at the hot lemonade, its gentle sweetness filling my mouth. It tasted sweet, sour, and utterly delightful. No, I want to stay by your side, Allan.
でも、
You shared so much of your energy with me, that's why I want to help in the store.
わかった。でも、辛くなったらすぐに言うんだよ。
Yes, thank you. So protective. Although he'd been somewhat rough, he was now deeply concerned about me. I couldn't suppress a smile.
さてと。じゃ、開店の準備をしようか。
Okay. We went through the opening routine and began our usual work.
すみません。ここで買った枕のメンテナンスお願いしたいんですが。
まあ、いらっしゃいませ。どのようなメンテナンスをご希望ですか？
買った時はもっとふかふかだったんですけれど、すっかりへたってきちゃって。これって買い替えた方がいいですか？
確認させていただきますね。
Allan inspected the pillow the customer presented.
ああ、そうですね。買い替え時期かもしれません。むしろよくここまで持ちましたね。
セカンド枕だからあんまり使ってなかったの。じゃあこれと同じ形で新しいのをお願いできるかしら。
承りました。
Allan went into the back of the shop to prepare a new pillow. While he prepared the fittings, my eyes met with the customers.
それにしてもお二人ともいつまでも若々しくて羨ましいわ。
Thank you.
最近なかなかパックの効き目も減っちゃって、若さの秘訣ってあるの？
そうですね。充実した夫婦生活でしょうか。
あら、お熱いわね。羨ましいわ。
では、新しい枕のご用意ができました。高さの調整をいたしますので、そちらへどうぞ。
Although it was an ordinary conversation, I couldn't shake those words from my mind. Looking young, Allan had been running the shop for long before I came to the human realm. Even after I began working here, we both looked exactly the same. That was because demons didn't age. I was certain Allan hadn't altered his appearance for decades. He always carried a mysterious aura so he could easily play it off, but there might have been customers who found it strange. Yeah, we can't stay here forever. I knew that Allan must have never been able to stay in one place for too long. He's been here for 30 years. But I never voiced these thoughts. I already knew of his lifestyle before I joined the shop. but now I didn't want to jeopardize our happy little life. I knew that our time here was limited, so I prayed that it would at least last a little bit longer. It was now evening. We realized school was already out, so we closed the shop and went to search for Sylvie. We searched throughout Lost York but couldn't find him anywhere. Eventually we found him in Lost York Park. Sylvie?
見つかってよかった。ここにいたのか。
え？二人ともどうして？
心配して探していたに決まってるだろう。それより、膝はどうしたんだ？
Allan immediately spotted the scrapes on Sylvie's knee.
なんでもないんです。ちょっと転んじゃっただけで。
転んだだけじゃこんな傷できないだろう。ほら、手当てをするから、家に帰ろう。
Allan crouched shakily for Sylvie to climb onto his back. Sylvie looked like he was about to cry. He glanced at me before letting Allan carry him. Did he get bullied, I wonder, and he ran off. Once home, we treated Sylvie. He seemed to be in pain. Well then, how does it feel? After applying disinfectant and a bandage, Sylvie began to move his leg up and down as he nodded.
はい、かなり楽になりました。
Good, now let's have dinner.
はい。
Sylvia looked down and Allan and I exchanged glances. We weren't sure what to say in such a situation. Observing his troubled expression, we suspected that something had occurred at school. But if he didn't want to discuss it, we would respect his choice.
まあ、そういえば、前に映画を見るために入った配信サイトをしばらく放置してたっけ？シルビー、アニメーション映画とか見てみない？
アニメーション映画？
あ、この中で気になるのを選んでみて。アニメーション映画は人間が作ったすごい技術なんだ。
To fill the silence, Allan turned on the TV, offering a remote to Sylvie so he could choose a movie he liked. Sylvie browsed the list of animated movies and selected one. It was titled The Small Mermaid, inspired by the Little Mermaid fairy tale.
面白かった。スモールマーメイド。
He ate dinner, and by the time the movie was over, Sylvie seemed to be in better spirits. He was back to his usual self. With still hints of sadness lingering on his face, he sighed and hugged a cushion on the bed.
すごいですね。人魚姫が人間のために人間になろうと努力するなんて。あれもまた愛の形なんですね。勉強になりました。
どうした？
いえ、あれは人気な作品なんですよね。
I think so. It's been around since before I came to the human realm. It's been popular for a really long time.
人魚も魔女もいるようなファンタジー映画が人気なのに、どうしてなんだろう。
Allan gave Sylvie a gentle smile. He silently encouraged Sylvie to continue.
実は今日、キューピッドとか神様はいないってクラスメートに言われたんです。
Sylvie's voice got quiet. We sat down next to him to give him our full attention.
神も悪魔もいない。そんなの信じるやつは変わり者だって学校で言われたんだ。僕、それが悔しくて、つい掴みかかっちゃって。でも相手よりも僕、弱くて。結局、喧嘩には負けた上に、先生にもすごく怒られました。暴力に訴えるなって。先生の言う通りです。 僕は神なのに、人間を守る立場なのに、人間にひどいことをしちゃったんです。そんな自分が情けなくて、喧嘩に負けたのが悔しくて。
Sylvie. I related to his feelings. During my early college days, I was surprised by human skepticism towards the existence of gods. There were a few days that felt like all of my core beliefs were being questioned. I understood why he felt depressed about it. I comforted him with a pat on the head. Shoulders twitched. Sylvia looked up at me. His eyes were filled with tears.
僕、ちゃんと一人前のキューピッドになれるんでしょうか？
もちろんだよ。
Yes, you definitely will. Together, Allan and I patted his head, which led Sylvie to break down and cry. As he wept, he used the backs of his hands to wipe away the tears. We stayed silent as he cried, offering solace with our presence. Sylvie cried for a while. After all that, his exhaustion took over and he fell asleep.
寝ちゃったね。
Yeah. Allan gently lifted Sylvie and tucked him into bed. Sylvie murmured in his slumber, clutching the blankets tightly.
神様はいないか。
Allan echoed Sylvie's earlier statement.
人は神も悪魔も信じなくなっている。今の時代に神になる天使たちはみんな同じように悩むんだろうな。
Yeah, I dealt with it too.
君も？
Yes, but during my time, humanity still revered the gods. Doubts began a century later. But Sylvie was born into the skepticism. He never experienced a time when gods were widely acknowledged. It must be tougher for him.
そっか。
Allan's smile while gazing at Sylvie carried a touch of melancholy. Then he turned back to me.
明日、3人で出かけようか。
Tomorrow? Doesn't Sylvie have school?
1日ぐらい休んでも平気だろ。彼はキューピッドなんだ。留学中にどう過ごすかは自由さ。
Oh, right. How Sylvie would live as Cupid during his studies were crucial. Right, let's discuss it with him when he wakes up tomorrow.
明日でも明後日でも別に。遊びに行くのはいつでもいいんだ。ただ、そういう選択肢があるんだってシルビーには知っていてもらいたい。だから明日聞いてみよう。
Allan gazed tenderly at the sleeping Sylvie. I recalled Allan's desire to have children. His eyes radiated warmth as if he were looking at a child of his own. The way they talk about it so much, I'm wondering if she will have a kid. I think it's foreshadowing. Make memories. Goodness. The following day, Allan proposed to Sylvie that we go out for some fun. He was overjoyed. We all headed out to Demore Paradise for our trip. It was Sylvie who requested the destination.
うわー、これが人間が作った愛の楽園、ダムールパラディですか。さすがですね。カップルがたくさんいます。キュピキュピー。
Sylvie's eyes darted everywhere as if everything here interested him. Demore Paradise held fond memories for us. After all, it was our honeymoon destination. Though our trip was fairly recent, it felt oddly nostalgic.
ほら、走ると転ぶよ。
平気ですよ。子供じゃないんですから。
キューピッドとしてはまだまだ子供だろ。
まあそうかもしれませんが。
ほら、手をつないで。迷子になると困るからさ。
He wants to hold hands. Sylvie briefly pouted but didn't reject Allan's hand. Then Sylvie turned to me, extending his other hand.
リネットも一緒に手をつなぎましょう。
Sure. With Allan on his right and me on his left, Sylvie's face lit up with joy.
二人はここに新婚旅行に来たんですよね。どこがおすすめですか？
そうだな。メリーゴーラウンドが楽しかったよ。
メリーゴーラウンド？アランが？
Why is he asking?
かぼちゃの馬車に乗ったんだ。
え？アランなら馬とかの方が似合いそうなのに。
かぼちゃも悪いもんじゃないだろ。それに確か4人乗りなんだ。3人で乗ってみない？
僕は馬がいいです。
We continued to discuss our options as we walked hand in hand. It was almost as if we were a real family. We decided to ride the merry-go-round twice, first to ride the horse and then the pumpkin carriage to compare. Then we spotted a cart selling popcorn and bought some for a snack. This black pepper flavor is pretty good.
このキャラメル味も最高ですよ。はん、甘い。
As we mushed on our popcorn, we shared our impressions of the merry-go-round. Riding the pumpkin carriage was much more fun than I thought.
だから言っただろ。
でも僕はやっぱり馬が一番好きです。上下に動きますし。
動かないってのもなかなかいいと思ったんだけどな。
まあ確かにみんなで話しながら乗るのは楽しかったですけど。
After we finished the popcorn, Sylvie's attention shifted elsewhere. Something caught his eye, leaving him stunned with eyes wide open. What's the matter?
あの二人大変です。相性最悪じゃないですか。
Huh? I followed Sylvie's line of sight and saw a happy couple. But due to my past experience as Cupid, I could also detect that they were incompatible. The girl was smiling, but her eyes were not. The boy didn't notice that, and it felt like they were seconds away from a fight.
ああ、やっぱりそうですよ。最悪の相性です。別れさせた方がいいですよね。
Sylvie took out his Cupid's arrow and observed their compatibility. That moment, I experienced an indescribable chill, forcing me to back away, because it's a god with his artifact. No, he feels it too. Allan must have felt the same, since he made a defensive stance like me, yet he continued to smile to mask his concern.
シルビー、キューピッドの矢は人前で出しちゃダメだ。
なんでですか？
神具は深海から使うものだろう。人間界でむやみに出すなって主神にも言われなかったか？それに現代のロサンヨークで弓矢は危険物所持扱いになるんだ。分かったら一度しまってくれ。
あ、そうでした。逮捕されたら大変ですもんね。ごめんなさい。
Sylvie quickly transformed Cupid's arrow back into a necklace, and my trembling ceased immediately. There was no denying it. What I felt was the deep fear a demon harbored towards divine artifacts. I never thought I'd fear Cupid's arrow. I really am a demon now. Although I had once possessed that Cupid's arrow, it now filled me with fear. I knew of this phenomenon, but it was the first time I'd actually felt that demonic instinct. I still remembered Allan's genuine panic when I aimed my Cupid's arrow at him before. I know, can you imagine if she shot him with it? He would have disappeared. I understood that fear, but I couldn't fully grasp its magnitude. I realized it made me feel like I could be erased from his existence. Both Allan and I were damp with a cold sweat. He suppressed any outward sign of fear and smiled.
それよりポップコーンを食べて喉乾いただろう。そこの店のジュースでも買ってくるよ。何がいい？
いいんですか？僕も一緒に見に行きたいです。
OK。 一緒にメニューを見よ
Alan gently touched my shoulder to calm my nerves, encouraging me to rest while he went to get some drinks with Sylvie. I was still in shock, but I managed a grateful nod. Thank you, Alan.
う。じゃあシルビー、行こうか。
はい。
Sylvie left the empty bag of popcorn on the bench and ran off with Alan. I liked Sylvie, but I still couldn't shake my fear of his divine artifact. Though my trembling had stopped, a deep worry lingered within me. No, you have him at your house. We spent the rest of the day exploring more paradise. We dined at the restaurant. We played at the casino. We set aside our concerns and simply enjoyed ourselves. By sunset, my fear of Cupid's arrow had faded, and we were now at the island's edge. In our previous visit, a wedding ceremony had prevented us from looking around quietly. It's beautiful. The land seemed to float over the sea, with lights lending it a magical quality. As we approached a bench overlooking the illuminated waters, I noticed something. Hey look, this mound of sand, it's only half made. Could it be a sandcastle?
ほんとだ。
砂の城？
そう。人間はさ、こうやって砂を使ってお城を作るんだ。
Alan smiled and crashed down beside the mound, intent on continuing the unfinished project. He wet his hands and scooped up the sand to pile on more. The sight brought me back to a moment in time long ago. That's right, heaven. In our days as an angel pair, we often made sandcastles like this. That precious memory overlapped with the present moment.
僕も一緒にやっていいですか？
もちろんだよ。
Me too. The three of us huddled close and built the sandcastle next to the waves. The texture of the sand between my fingers, the way it felt to kneel on the sand, it all felt too familiar.
なんだかここ、懐かしい感じがしますね。
Sylvie whispered to himself. It's possible he had a similar experience in heaven. Though Sylvie would have lost his memory of being an angel, he still felt a sense of nostalgia.
この砂の感触も何かを思い出すような気がします。
そっか。俺も思うよ。懐かしいってさ。
He continued to scoop up sand and form the mound into a castle. Alan carefully decorated the sand while Sylvie and I piled on more sand, just like how we used to do in heaven. Soon we completed a small sandcastle.
こんなもんかな。
Wow, it looks so pretty.
すごい。本物のお城だ。アランって本当に器用なんですね。
そう？
はい。何でもできるし、優しいですし、悪魔だとは思えません。
Lynette tells you this every day.
残念だが、正真正銘本物の悪魔さ。もう何百年も前からね。
でもリネットは、元はキューピッドの悪魔ですよね。
Huh? That's true, but...
ならアランも、元は神様だったんですか？
That innocent question was a reminder that Sylvie didn't know about angels. He only knew of gods and demons. Alan simply smiled in response.
俺が神だった時はないよ。
His voice was gentle, but his eyes had a hint of melancholy. It felt as though he implied he'd fallen before achieving godhood. Wanting to change the topic, I chimed in. How about we take a picture together?
写真？
We made a sandcastle. I wanted to keep a memory of it. I heard this is a popular photo spot, so how about it? I glanced at Alan and his reassuring smile told me all was well.
いいね。じゃあそこのベンチに座って撮ってみようか。
はい。
The three of us tried to sit together on the bench, but it was harder than we thought. We looked at each other and laughed.
ぎゅうぎゅうですね。
ほら、顔をもう少し近づけないと全員写真に入らないよ。
Like this?
じゃあ僕がもう少し縮こまって。
よし、いい感じだ。じゃあ、撮るよ。
Alan captured the moment with his smartphone. I looked at the picture. It was a photo of a happy family. Aww. It turned out great.
あ、砂の城もバッチリ写ってる。
Is it though? I don't think it is.
わあ、いい写真ですね。
With a wide smile on his face, Sylvie stared intently at the photo.
僕、こんな風に誰かと写真を撮ったの初めてです。すっごく嬉しいです。ありがとうございます、アラン。それと、さっきはごめんなさい。
You know, it just occurred to me that the last section didn't have a choice in it at all. I already noticed that it didn't have a CG, but it didn't have a choice, which is odd because usually that doesn't happen until the end of the whole route, where it just keeps going after the last choice. Like in Jupiter specifically, where it had like 4 extra sections after the last choice. But not having one in the middle, I wonder. Like, I think Alan's route is going to be a little bit longer than the rest of them.
何が？
僕、悪魔より神の方が偉いって思ってました。それでさっき失礼なことを言っちゃいました。優しいから神だったのかなんて、神の方が偉いって思ってるみたいで、悪魔の皆さんに失礼でした。悪魔がとか神がとかカテゴライズして考えちゃダメですよね。僕がお二人に感謝してることに神か悪魔かは関係ありません。だからあんなこと言ってごめんなさい。
大丈夫だよ。実際悪魔の方が悪事を働いているのは確かなんだ。俺たちはそういう存在だからね。でもそう思ってもらえるのは嬉しいよ。俺のことも彼女のこともさ。
はい、柔軟に考えるようにします。いいキューピッドになるために。
きっとシルビーはいい神になれるよ。
本当ですか？
あ、俺が保証する。
Alan nodded and Sylvie responded with a big smile.
やっぱり僕、留学してよかった。
He closed his eyes and sighed. When he opened his eyes again, I noticed that his expression was particularly bright.
なんだか僕、少し分かった気がします。神でいることの意味が。うまく言葉にはできないんですけど、でもお二人みたいな幸せなカップルを守りたいって思いました。今日もたくさんのカップルを見ました。僕がこれから導くかもしれないそんなカップルたちです。神も人間も悪魔も関係なくて、キューピッドとしてどんな人にも幸せな恋をお届けしたい。 ダムールパラディにいた相性の悪いカップルも相性のいいカップルもみんな応援したい。初めてそう思えた気がします。同級生の意地悪にも負けちゃいけませんね。ああいう人たちにも素敵な恋をしてもらおうって思わなきゃ。
So with enthusiasm, Sylvie jumped off the bench and looked up at the sky.
ねえアラン、さっきの写真よければプリントアウトしてもらえませんか？深海に帰っても写真を見たいんです。
Print it?
クラスメートから聞きました。昔は写真を印刷して保管してたんですよね。僕スマホは持っていないですし、でももう一度見たいから印刷して持って帰りたいって思ったんです。本物の夫婦のお二人の姿を見たら初心を忘れずにいられそうだから。
オーケー。後で印刷しておくよ。
ありがとうございます。お二人にお会いできて本当に良かった。
Sylvie smiled softly. It felt like he had matured greatly in just one day. I know this section just started, but I kind of hope it gets over soon because the NyQuil started to kick in. A month had passed since Sylvie started attending middle school. Goodness.
じゃあ学校行ってきますね。帰りに友達の家に寄ってきます。
Sylvie dashed out energetically, his backpack swinging over his shoulder. He's safe.
いってらっしゃい。
はい、行ってきます。
元気になってよかった。
They laughed together as we watched Sylvie run off. You're right about that. I'm glad he's finally getting used to school.
そうだね。
Alan's eyes squinted as he smiled. He was clearly happy with Sylvie's progress. A couple days after that time Sylvie returned home in tears, we secretly observed him at school in our demon forms. Human couldn't see us while we're in our demon forms. We saw Sylvie make up with his friends. He was adapting well, balancing his role as God and with his life in the human society. He made new friends and seemed to be genuinely enjoying himself. That's why we knew that he'd be okay. A day passed, then 10 days, then 100 days. Every day was joyous, but we never took it for granted. 100 days with Sylvie? Jeez. Sylvie, the new Cupid, along with Allan and me. After about a year, the strange life we shared together came to an end. Oh yeah, because he only studied for a year, huh? It was time for Sylvie to return to Celestia. Can you imagine, saying goodbye to him after a year? He should be home any minute now. While still on the clock at Pillow Luxuria, I kept looking out the window in anticipation. Today was Sylvie's last day of school. He'd informed the teacher that he would be transferring, so they all arranged a farewell party for him. After that, he'd come home and we'd throw our own celebration.
もう1年か。あっという間だったな。
Yeah, it's already been that long. We glanced out the window and then back at each other. We both felt the weight of loneliness. Life was happy with just the two of us, but it was even better with the three of us. It was said that our time as a trio was coming to an end. Do you want to go grocery shopping for the party soon?
そうだね。今日は早めに店じまいをして。
That scared the heck out of me. As someone who's dozing off with NyQuil, oh my goodness. Suddenly I heard the sound of glass shattering and echo throughout the shop. Huh? One of our windows was broken and we found a rock wrapped in paper on the floor surrounded by glass shards. I bet you someone captured him. He looks upset. When Allan picked up the rock and read the note, his expression darkened. I glanced at the message and gasped. It read, "Get out, you monsters." Allan, what's this?
気にしなくていいよ。
But
たまにあるんだ。 同じ場所に留まっているとさ。多分俺の見た目が変わらないから不気味に思ったんだと思う。
But you've been there for 30 years, 31 years.
大丈夫。これならまだ猶予はあるよ。でもそろそろ終わりが近いみたいだ。この家にいられるのはさ。
Allan crumpled the note, turning his back to me in an attempt to hide his emotions.
シルビーが帰ったら俺たちも引っ越しをしよう。
I still think it's funny that he hasn't moved in 30 years. Maybe it's someone that bought a pillow 30 years ago that threw the rock in there. I felt a pang in my heart when I realized that our time here was running out. Oh my goodness, we have a choice. Alright, it's pull myself together, but we're going to pretend to be fine first. I smiled. I didn't mind any of that. All I wanted was to live a simple life. Anywhere will be fine. Did you have any preference? While in high spirits, I hugged Allan, but he looked like he was holding back tears.
Soだな。君はどこに住みたい？
I know that look. It's the look he makes when he tries to endure his pain. I knew he wanted to pamper me with all the happiness in the world, but felt frustrated when he couldn't give me everything. I think I'll probably go back.
シルビーが帰ったら
Alright, pull myself together. I nodded with determination to show that I was prepared to leave when necessary, hoping my readiness would lighten his stress. We'd have to move multiple times. I didn't want him to know how lonely I really felt. I need to be strong, especially now. I knew this was coming, so I'm fine. As long as I'm with you, I'll be happy. Let's plan our next move.
ありがとう。そう言ってくれて嬉しいよ。せっかくなら君が一番住みたい場所に行こう。遠くても寒くても暑くてもいいから。
I know that look. It's the look he makes when he tries to endure his pain. I knew he'd want to pamper me with all of the happiness in the world, but felt frustrated when he couldn't give me everything. Allan always tried to shoulder everything on his own, even though this was a problem the two of us could solve together. Then how about the coast? Oh, or maybe we could live in a cabin in the mountains.
そうだな。いいね。海辺の町も山奥の小屋も。
He caught me off guard with a hug.
ごめん。本当は分かっていたんだ。もうここにはいられないぐらい長居してるってこと。俺がもっと早くに言えばよかった。そうすればこんな石投げ込まれなかったのに。でもここは気に入っていたから、ついもう少しだけって欲張りすぎたんだ。本当ならもっと早くここを出るべきだった。ごめん、こんな目に合わせて。
Oh, Allan, I really don't mind.
でも
Look, today should be about Sylvie. We can worry about it tomorrow. So I actually like the idea of moving. Let's just look forward to it.
ごめん。そうだよな。落ち込むのはまた明日にしよう。笑顔で別れたいもんな。
That evening, Ellen and I threw a heartfelt farewell party for Sylvie.
乾
乾杯
Sylvie seemed to really enjoy all the food we prepared for him.
美味しいですね。この人間の食べ物ともお別れなのは少し寂しいです。
I'm glad you like it.
まだおかわりあるからたくさん食べて。
ありがとうございます。はあ、やっぱり家はいいですね。観光名所を歩くのも楽しかったですが、ここがロサンヨークでは一番好きです。
Sylvie glanced around our house. His eyes were filled with nostalgia. To him, Lost York felt like home. Of course, we felt the same way about it. It was tough thinking about leaving this place behind. But being demons living in the human realm, we had to move on. I know, technically, since you've been married, you've been here for 21 years, right? So, a year after studying abroad, you understand humans better now.
はい。人間の考え方って面白いですね。嫉妬とか傲慢さとかは降臨しないとわからなかった気がします。
そっか。それだけ覚えていれば十分。恋結びの役に立ちそうだな。
はい。お二人を見ていたら円満な夫婦生活の秘訣も分かった気がしますし。
Huh? Really?
はい。手本にしたいくらいです。
The fact that the real Cupid viewed our relationship as exemplary made Allan and I exchange glances. So that's how Sylvie sees us.
ほんと、ジュノー様にも見せてあげたいですよ。あんな神話ばっかり残されていて。
Hearing Lady Juno's name made me uneasy. Before I became a demon, I was almost appointed to take Lady Juno's place when she disappeared. Speaking of which, how is Lady Juno doing now? I assumed that someone new had been selected, but Sylvie just appeared confused.
それが、僕は一度もお会いしたことないんです。D コンセンテスですからね。下っ端のキューピッドじゃ会えません。僕が知っているのは、人間界に来て神話の本で読んだジュノー様だけですよ。
そっか。
Did they not select a replacement yet? Selecting a god for the Die Constantins is no small task. I declined the position, so perhaps Lord Jupiter was struggling to find a replacement for Lady Juno. I felt a twinge of guilt about thinking about it.
でも、本当にびっくりしましたよ。ジュノー様があんなに嫉妬深い神だっただなんて。人を殺したり、牛にしたりする神なんて絶対許されないですよ。あれじゃ悪魔と変わりません。
Now that I think about it, those myths were indeed spread.
神ってのは身勝手な存在だからな。
僕はそんな神になりませんよ。歴史に残るような立派なキューピッドになるんです。でも正直先輩みたいな立派なキューピッドになれるか自信はないです。
Huh? Really?
はい。自分で留学を決めるほどやる気と行動力に満ち溢れたキューピッドはこれまでいなかったってみんな言ってますし。はあ、だからなおさらこんなに優秀なキューピッド先輩と一緒に恋結びができなくて残念です。矢の放ち方の教え方も上手でしたし、人間の観察も上手ですし。
I'm sorry we can't be Cupid together, but I think there's a kind of matchmaking that I can only do as a human.
そうなんですか?
Only do as a demon. Yes, and besides, if gods, humans, and demons all take part in matchmaking, there will be 3 times as many couples. That's why I believe things are fine as they are.
なるほど。確かに神だけで恋結びするより神も悪魔も どっちもしている方が良さそうですが、少し寂しいです。
Sylvie.
あ、ごめんなさい。別にリネットが神じゃないのが寂しいんじゃないんです。ただ、もう帰らなきゃいけないのが寂しくて、つい言っちゃっただけなんです。
After Sylvie showed us his raw emotions, Alan and I didn't know what to say. I see.
なら、いつでも会いに来ればいい。別に一回しか降臨しちゃいけないなんて決まりはないんだからさ。
本当ですか？僕がまた来ても迷惑じゃないんですね。
ああ、もちろんだ。そのうち引っ越すかもしれないけど、シルビーならきっと俺たちを見つけられるだろ。
Yes, you're always welcome. Even if you can't find us, we'll come find you. Having spent so much time with Sylvie, we had a knack for detecting where he was. Knowing this, Alan nodded in agreement.
じゃあ、きっとまた来ますね。
Sylvie looked happy and relieved. While we couldn't stay in one place for long, Sylvie would always have a home with us. We wanted him to know that. And then Sylvie returned to Celestia, a place that demons like us were forbidden from entering.
じゃあ、俺たちも行こうか。
Yeah. We held hands as we turned to leave the place we called home for so long. You just leave, like you don't give it away, sell it, anything else, bring anything with you. Some things would always be the same, but some things were destined to change. The way the stars twinkled at night, the way people felt to love towards one another. No matter how fast the world changed around us, our daily life would always remain the same. We'd laugh, we'd cry, we'd argue, and then make up again. This world, where gods, demons, and humans coexisted, would simply go on as usual. Nearly a century went by. This game is just like flying by, isn't it? Their route is, anyway. A century. That's 100 years, right? Half-Bay Sandcastle. Pretty sure it's 100 years. I think a decade is 10. A few still says after a few decades. Oh, after 100 years it changed. I watched it change. After 100 years. Oh my goodness. Well, the Parasite 5 is definitely not coming back now. Oh my goodness. I am going to continue because I don't have a CG yet, but I'm going to continue a different day. I've been recording for an hour and 10-ish minutes. I don't think I can record another half an hour section, especially if it doesn't have a CG in it. I mean, even if it did, I would stop anyway, but I'm going to stop now and pick up tomorrow. So if my voice sounds slightly different tomorrow, I apologize. Hopefully it doesn't sound different, and hopefully it isn't bad. Because if it's bad, then I'm gonna have to wait like a whole long time to record this. Anyway, video is going to continue on as normal. I'm just not going to record it this night. Alright, sorry for the next day. My throat feels a little bit worse, but I don't think it's affecting my voice too much. Anyway, during that time, Last York transformed into an entirely different place. Only the sound of the ocean waves remained unchanged. Together, Alan and I took a stroll on an empty beach. What are they gonna do? Like, I'm so curious to how this story is gonna play out. Now it's been 100 years. Everyone that they have ever known is gone, so...
今日はどこに行きたい？
Let's see, where should we go? We held hands as we gazed at the sky above. Last York was no longer our home. If we stayed in one place for too long, people would question our eternal youth. Our old home at the pillow shop had been demolished because of its aged infrastructure. Since leaving Last York, we never stayed in one place too long and changed our lifestyles each time. When we lived in Baltimore, we had an oyster business. In Crunch Canyon, we opened a souvenir shop and made wood carvings to make a living. In Washington, Allan became a middle school teacher. Every place we lived, there were countless new experiences, joyful moments, and sorrowful goodbyes. We had lived in numerous towns, leading so many different lives. Finally, nearly a century later, we ended up back in Lost York.
やっぱりロサンヨークはいいな。帰ってきたって気がする。
It's where we first met, Allan.
あ、
As we took in our surroundings, we immersed ourselves in our memories. Back then, Right Skirt Beach used to be filled with couples around the city around this time of day, but right now it was just us. We walked slowly along the sandy shores. The cars that once raced all day on Silver Gate Bridge were now rusty, and there weren't as many as before. Baltimore was a new hotspot. Recently, we'd heard that many people had moved from Lost York to Baltimore. Perhaps that's why it was so quiet here now. It felt a little lonely. I spotted a sandcastle that someone had built nearby. We watched as the crashing waves slowly destroyed the half-built sandcastle. Obviously, the sandcastle we had created back then was long gone, but something about this moment deeply hurt my soul. It was as if everything we built could be swept away easily by the ever-changing world, just like that sandcastle. With no one around, we turned into our demon forms and spread out our wings. We wanted to view Lost York from above. Then we landed at a specific spot. It was Demore Paradise.
ここもすっかり廃墟になったな。
Oh, is her hair short now? Oh my goodness. I hope this isn't the CG we get, though. I was kind of hoping for a new one, like one in their demon forms. Yeah, but it brings back memories.
あ、懐かしいな。新婚旅行をしたのはもう百数年も前なのに、昨日のことのように思い出せるよ。あの頃の君は今より子供っぽくて、天真爛漫で無邪気で。
Oh, please, isn't that the same thing?
いや、違うよ。俺にとっては違うんだ。
I see. Allan, you seemed more worried back then.
本当？
Yeah, you looked worried that I would vanish the moment you took your eyes off me.
そっか。そうだったかもな。今でもたまに怖くなるよ。君はすぐに飛んでいきそうだから。
I could fly, but I'd always come back to you.
絶対に。
Yes, I promise. You're the home I'll always return to, Allan.
俺の帰ってくる場所も君しかいないよ。
Yeah. Allan reached out and gently touched the tips of my hair. He smiled with a hint of sadness in his eyes, but he didn't say anything more. I think he still felt guilty even now. As time passed, I looked much more like a demon. When it was just Allan and I lowered my guard, and without realizing it, my true self would emerge vividly. So I smiled at Allan to reassure him that I was happier now than ever before. We're gonna tell him physically or verbally? First we're gonna tell him verbally. Hey, Allan. I'm very happy. Are you happy too? Why does he sound so sad when he says that? Like, it breaks my heart. He told me he was happy with tears in his eyes. Even after a century, his worries remained. I always reassured him that we'd always be together. Still, he reached for me, worried that I would disappear. He moved his face closer and our lips touched lightly.
君は。
We gazed into each other's eyes and smiled. We've kissed countless times already. That's why I could tell from the moment we touched that he still harbored sadness and regret. At our wedding, he wished for my happiness the way a human would experience happiness. I think we can go up now. I'll come back to this. Tell him physically. I hugged Allan tightly, burying my face in his chest. I didn't know of any other way to express my happiness. I don't know how I could ever vocalize my feelings, but I don't need words to tell him.
Lynette. ありがとう。
He called my name and hugged me back. I could feel his emotions through our touch. It was enough to bring tears to his eyes. Even after a century, his worries remained. I always reassured him that we'd always be together. Still, he reached for me, worried that I would disappear. He moved his face closer and our lips touched lightly.
あったかいな、君は。
We gazed into each other's eyes and smiled. We've kissed countless times already. That's why I could tell from the moment we touched that he still harbored sadness and regret. At our wedding, he wished for my happiness the way a human would experience happiness. But happiness has many forms. I wanted him to understand that he didn't need to feel guilty. Remember when we went to Demore Paradise with Sylvie?
懐かしいね。立派なキューピッドに慣れてるといいんだけど。
He was always so hardworking. I bet he's great at it.
ああ、
As we thought of Sylvie and Celestia, we felt a sense of longing. Hey, Allan, there were many sad things that happened, but there were lots of fun things too. The joy we felt as humans and as angels, you gave me both. You lived so many lives, an oyster shop owner, a shopkeeper, and a teacher's wife. Allan, the happiness you've given me is more than any human could ever feel. I'm happier than ever, so don't make that face.
リネット。
I'm happy as long as I'm with you, Allan. It doesn't matter if it's heaven, hell, or the human realm. So let go of that guilt. You don't need to worry about me all the time.
でも、俺の幸せは、君が人間らしい暮らしをできることだ。
Allan paused suddenly. He knew that the simple life of a human was no longer possible. We couldn't settle anywhere. We were wanderers. He looked troubled. He seemed to consider that our life wasn't very human-like.
俺は君に全部あげたかった。悪魔になったせいで制限を感じるような生活にはしたくなかったんだ。
He needs to understand that that's what they are, and it's not going to make it any better if he worries about it. In fact, their demonic nature, I wouldn't say limits them. It gives them many opportunities to be whatever they want. I know their life will probably never end, but I never felt limited.
でもずっと同じ場所にいられなかった。
I like that though. I get to experience so many different places. Yeah, see?
でも年を取らなくて不気味だって君が思われるのは嫌だった。
They thought the same about you. I'm glad I can understand what you went through. I shouldn't be the only one receiving happiness. I want to share all of our feelings, Allan. Besides, I'm happy that I get to experience life as a demon with you. No matter how we spin it, we're demons. Why not embrace it? I know. See, that's exactly what I just said. It's not going to make life any better when you're mourning it.
どう取り繕ったって悪魔か。そうだな。そうだった。俺は の事実から逃げようとしてたんだな。
Yeah, embrace your eternal life with each other. He sighed deeply and closed his eyes. After a moment, he finally smiled.
固執しすぎてたんだな。俺は。人間らしさってやつに。
Yes, we were never human to begin with. I used to be an angel, then became a god. Next to Allan, I lived as a human for a brief period of time, but my nature was always divine. As for Allan, he was always a demon after he fell from heaven.
そういえば、そうだったな。それなのに、どうして俺は君に人間らしくいてもらいたいって思ってたんだろう。
I know, you should give her the best demon life she could possibly imagine.
多分、長いこと君を恋をさせて人間にしたいって願っていたからかもしれないな。君を神ではなくして人間にすれば転生して長生きできるとずっと思っていたんだ。多分その頃の祈りがまだ修正になっているんだろうな。
Allan. He had wished for my happiness for so long. I hugged him knowing how he felt about me. I'm going to say another one. Oh my goodness, this is a save file. Alright. We're going to say being a demon wasn't so bad. I feel so much happier since I became a demon.
本当に
Of course, it's not a bad thing to be a demon. I smiled wide and Allan relaxed into a genuine smile.
悪魔でいるのは悪いことなんかじゃないか。
Yeah, you guys said so yourself many times. You're demons, but you don't do bad things.
そうだな。無理をして人間らしさを追うのだけが幸せじゃない。リネット、悪魔界に行くのは怖くない。
Instead of living on the human realm, are you guys gonna go live in hell? Why would I be? I'm a demon. I swished my tail in front of him for emphasis. I've only been there once. I've always been curious about it.
あんな場所なのに
You lived there when you were a lesser demon, right?
そうだよ。
Then that's where we should be. That's home for demons like us. Just as the gods belonged in Celestia, demons belonged in hell. Denying that fact felt like denying our entire existence.
わかった。じゃあ行こうか。本来俺たちが住むべき世界。悪魔界に。
I think that would probably be better too. Instead of going from place to place in the human realm, having to relocate after you've made friends and, you know, you've made close relationships with the humans, only to have to move and say goodbye. I think that's better too. Oh my goodness. Allan unleashed his demonic powers to create a portal in space. On the other side was hell. I remember being taken there as a reborn human by a demon for a dark feast. He took her soul down there once, I think. Well, I know, because the demons were after it, but I don't remember. I didn't know that she knew. But I was no longer a god, I was a demon now. And with Allan, a greater demon by my side, I had nothing to be afraid of. We held hands and leapt into the abyss. Oh my goodness. Nibble that finger. What the heck? I don't even want to know. It reminds me of like when Gil sucked on her finger when she had the melted chocolate on it. Nibble that finger. Well, you know, I am going to end the episode here. we have a screenshot. It's not the one I wanted, but I don't want to make this really long. And I think that's a really good ending to a really good place to stop. To go back into hell. That's the ending of this. And so it feels like we're not even halfway through the choices. Like that's like a third of the choices. So it's like they spend, they spend a few episodes trying to fit in with humans, and then they realize that they can't. They can't fit in with humans. It just makes Alan way too sad. It makes her sad too, but it makes him even sadder because he thinks that she's sad and she's not. I mean, not in the way that he's thinking. She's happy being a demon. She wants to embrace being a demon. And he's trying to reject the fact that she's a demon. And now that he's finally accepted it, they're going to go back where they belong. And then I feel like this is where the actual root's going to start. I feel like that they put it in to their human side of things. And now they're going to embrace being a demon, and things are going to happen in hell, I guess. I'm actually really looking forward to it. We had the Jupiter story where, yeah, they spent most of their time in the human realm as well, but the last few chapters, not chapters, but the last couple of episodes in it, they were doing God things. Once he got over his, I guess, cowardice, he got rid of the timid side of him, the cheese side of him. Not really got rid of it, but conquered it. So now that they've conquered now that they've gotten over the fact that they're not humans, now they're going to go to being true demons, and I'm so excited. Anyway, if you guys did enjoy it, drop a like down below and or subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.